welcome to At Michelle Rogers, a YouTube channel where we discuss topics in the news, celebrity or otherwise, and we discuss it with a spiritual twist. So, a news topic I would like to talk about today is transgender women receiving uterine implants of the uterus. So apparently this first was attempted in 1931 with a Danish artist, and she underwent a uterine implant, and the implant, it was successful, but she ended up dying because of post-operative infection. So I guess they've been working on it ever since, and the first successful uterine implant in a female, a natural born female, was in Sweden in 2018. And so now that they have successfully implanted a uterine in a biological female, they are more hopeful that they can successfully do the same in a transgender female. And a doctor by the name of Dr. Chung, who is one of the lead doctors in this area, he is hoping that this will happen within the next 5 to 10 years, that they will be able to successfully implant uterines in a male who has transitioned into a female. Now, of course, it will take some time because they have to, before the uterus even gets implanted, they will have to go through a rigorous hormone treatment, because there are certain hormones that must be fed to the uterus in order to keep the uterus healthy and able to sustain an embryo and grow the embryo. So, and also to not be rejected by the body, right? So they will first have to go through this hormone treatment for however long, and then they would have to reconstruct the whole pelvis area to make room, because typically a transgender female's pelvic area is narrow, and for childbirthing or pregnancies you need a more wide pelvis area. And so they would reconstruct the pelvis area, making it more wide, and then they would implant the uterus, and of course later implant the embryo, and then they would continue the rigorous hormone therapy throughout the pregnancy in order to sustain the uterus and the embryo, because a natural born woman has certain types of hormones that only come out when it's time to feed the uterus and feed the developing embryo. And once the baby is delivered, it will be delivered by cesarean section. Then the patient could either try to get pregnant again, because the uterus is only good for 1 to 2 pregnancies, or they would have to have the uterus taken out, because if they continue to keep the uterus, they would have to stay on these hormones like forever, and the hormone treatment is so rigorous that it wouldn't be good for the patient's overall health in the long run. So in order for them to stop the rigorous hormone treatment to sustain the uterus, they would have to have it removed. Now, from a spiritual standpoint, this is, in my opinion, a spiritual attack on the natural born woman. If you are a believer in Christ, and if you are familiar with the event that happened in Genesis when the devil deceived Eve and she brought Adam along with her, once all that was revealed, the one true God, Father he laid out consequences for Adam, for Eve, and for the devil. And so one of those consequences was that there would be iniquity between the woman and and Satan, right? Or the enemy, which is what I would prefer to use, enemy. So that iniquity between the enemy and between the woman is basically beef at the end of the day. So God put beef between the woman and the enemy, right? And so And if you look at it from a spiritual level, the natural woman has been attacked on many fronts throughout history. I mean, it's not hard to find that out. So I think this is just another example of that spiritual war between the woman and the enemy trying to get rid of the woman, trying to make the woman useless and not needed, right? And eventually, if you don't need somebody, or we're not needed, like our whole purpose biologically, like the whole function of our biological system at the end of the day is to have children. And not saying that, and I know that can come across and hit people the wrong way, but I mean, it is what it is. I mean, the main purpose of being a woman is to have a baby biologically, right? I'm not talking about mentally and all that. I'm saying your biological system as a natural born woman, and the certain hormones and things that you have, and the ways are wired, and the way things work is for the sole purpose of having children. Okay, and that's just what it is. So that's just my take on it. This is another example of how the enemy is trying to destroy the woman in particular. Of course, he wants to destroy everybody, but in particular the woman, because of that iniquity that was put there between us. And so far it seems to be working. Now, like I said, everybody has free will. Do what you want, but you need to recognize what's going on, so that way you can protect yourself and not be deceived. So that's all I have for today. Thank you so much for watching. Please like, share, and subscribe, and I will see you on the next go round. Bye-bye.